Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm gonna take a look at a very affordable wristwatch from Citizen called the Citizen NH8350-83E, and I will leave a link down in the description for this particular model. Some of you may have seen that I have already done a review of a very similar watch to this, and that was basically the same exact model, but with a blue dial. And many of you guys seem to love that watch, so I thought I'd take a look at the black version of that model. And as always, let's start off with some specifications. The case size is 40 millimeters, the lug width is 20 millimeters, the case thickness is around 12 millimeters. It got a mineral crystal and an in-house automatic movement, the Miura 8250. And this movement is a workhorse movement from Citizen. It's very reliable, not the prettiest movement or the most accurate, but it is very reliable and robust. And you can say it's equal to the Seiko 7S26, but this one actually got hand binding, but no hacking function. So it's a pretty decent movement, and especially for the price of around $100, you can get this watch for $100. And for this price, I think you're getting a lot of watch for your money. The dial is, as we see, black with applied markers or applied indices, and it got a day-date complication. And that was a bit of a complaint when I reviewed the blue dial version of this model. And it still is a bit of a shame that they have gone for a day date, because it detracts from the very minimal and dressy look of this watch. But I still think they have done a decent job on the day date window, because it doesn't detract as much as it could have done. So that's good, at least. The dial overall is, as we see, very simple, very clean, and there is very minimal text on the dial. You've got Citizen and automatic here, so it's very clean. And the hands are also very nicely done. They are polished, and they really matches the overall feel and look of this watch. The case, and I think this is a highlight of this watch, as many cheap watches in this price range tend to have a very boring case and in sometimes sloppy finishing. But in this case, I think as I said in my review of the blue dial version, I think the case is really nicely done. It is all polished except for the case back, but I think overall the polishing is done very nicely, and the edges and all the surfaces are very nicely polished overall. And I think the case is a bit different from what we usually see, so I think they have done a good job with the case. The crown is non-signed crown, and this is a bit of a shame, but as I prefer a signed crown. But for this price, I think you can't really complain about that. And as I said, it's hand windable, and the winding action is actually pretty smooth, as they tend to be when it comes to the Miura 8050 movement. So this is no exception. And I must say, for $100, $100 US, I think this is probably one of the better watches you can get. My two favorite watches in this price range for about $100 to $150 is this one and the Orient Bambino, as I mentioned before. I think these two watches offers tremendous value for your money, and the Orient Bambino is a bit more expensive, perhaps between $30 to $50 more, and that watch is a bit thinner, but also 0.5 millimeters bigger in diameter. So it's a bit of a trade-off, and you get basically the same quality between these two watches. So if you're more on a budget, I would recommend this one, but if you can pay around $50 more, I would probably get the Orient Bambino. Overall, both are great watches in their own right, and you can't really go wrong with any of them. I think it's a bit unfortunate we don't see that many watches from Citizen, especially automatic watches, and I would like to see more automatic Citizen watches. But they do make some pretty decent watches overall, and this is probably one of my favorite watches from Citizen in this price range. And if you're looking for a black dial dress watch, I think this is a really solid choice, and for the money, $100, this is probably as good of a watch you're gonna get for that price. And I must say I'm really impressed with the watch overall. And my only negative, except for the day-date window, is probably that it wears a bit too big for my liking, but at 40 millimeters it's still very wearable for a dress watch, and I think many people will appreciate the size, as 40 millimeters is kind of the standard size of a dress watch these days, but sizes are going down, so it would be nice to see a 38mm version of this watch. If they were to make a 38mm version for the same money as this, we would have a real winner, I think. But let's take a look at a wrist shot so we can see how it looks on my 7-inch wrists. Okay, here it is. And I must say, I think it sits quite nicely on my wrist. It's a bit thick, but that's to be expected with most Japanese watches in this price range. It doesn't wear too big. It looks a bit bigger on the camera than it does in real life. But this is as I said, a bit too big for being a dress watch, in my opinion. But I think, as I said, most people will like this size. And it doesn't look that big when you see it in person. I think you should buy a new strap if you get this watch, because the strap is not particularly good, but I have seen worse in this price range, and honestly I think this strap is more comfortable than the standard strap that comes with the Seiko Alpinist, and that watch is a bit more expensive, so it could be worse, but I would change the straps. So overall I really like this watch, and I think this is probably, as I said, one of the better watches you could get for under $100. And I think there is nothing really bad to say about this watch except those things I talked about previously. So I think this is a really good purchase, and you get a lot of value for your money, as with many Japanese watches. But I think this lineup, the NH8350, really punches above its weight, and I really like the lineup. As I said, if they could release a bit smaller version, I think it would be a fantastic watch. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this watch, and which one do you prefer, the blue dial version or the black dial version? This one is more understated and more perhaps classy, but the blue dial version looks fantastic as well. So let me know down in the comments which one you prefer. And if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more watch related content. And thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.